My name is Matt Hall, as you guys are all probably aware of by now, but I'm an American living here in Kaliningrad for about 2 years, 5 months, 25 days, 12 hours, 33 minutes, and about 10 seconds, but who's counting anyway, okay? It's really about our topic today. It's time, right? It's time to do something. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. Passion, or actually having urgency or time to do what you're passionate about. But before we go any further, what I would like to do is tell you a little bit about my story. And I don't have a lot of time, so I will just give you the very short version. I'm married to a very beautiful wife. Her name is Jackie. She's on the left side of the photo there. And then I have 3 amazing, beautiful children, Svetlana, Konstantin, and Daniil. In 1997, I came to Kaliningrad for the very first time. We had the opportunity to come in and provide humanitarian aid to orphanages, boarding schools, and shelters here in the Kaliningrad region. And every summer, what we would do is we would travel here to Kaliningrad, visit all the different orphanages, boarding schools, and shelters in the area, and we would spend time with the children and discuss ways we could help them in their orphanages. Because if you remember at that time, it was a very critical time in Russia's history, and the orphans and the orphanages were kind of the neglected area at the time. So we stepped in and we provided humanitarian aid. And what we would do is we'd go back to the United States, we would raise money, all kinds of support. We would send containers full of humanitarian aid supplies, clothing, boots. You understand what I'm talking about. And then we also would raise money and do renovations inside the orphanages. We didn't do a lot, but we tried to make a difference in what we could. So again, like we would travel, and when we would travel here, we would spend a lot of time with the kids while we were doing our project here. And traveling to, I don't know, we would come and see, 10 to 15 orphanages or boarding schools and shelters. You guys know what I'm talking about when I say that. We have fallen in love with the orphans here of Russia. And as you probably noticed, all 3 of my children have Russian names. And the reason why they have Russian names is because they are Russian. We adopted 3 children from Kaliningrad. My daughter we adopted in 2003 when she was only 6 years old, and my 2 boys we adopted in 2006. And so 60%, a majority of my family is actually Russian. So over the years, our hearts started to break. As we developed relationships with the children in the orphanages and boarding schools and shelters here, we realized what was happening. There was kind of something that was going on with the orphans, and our hearts started to break because we loved the kids so much. Many bad things were happening to the orphans who were graduating out of the orphanage. Now, I'm going to use the term orphan graduate. And what I mean by that is an orphan usually will leave the orphanage when he or she is 15 to 16 years old. They go most go to like a trade college. Some might stay at the orphanage and finish 10th and 11th grade. But most of them, a majority of them, actually leave the orphanage around the ages of 15 or 16 years old. So if I use the term and I say orphan graduate, you know what I mean. It's basically an orphan who has left the orphanage, usually, again, around the ages of 15, 16 years old. We've seen many of the orphan graduates commit suicide. We see many of the girls get involved in prostitution. We've seen many become addicted to drugs and alcohol. We've seen many turn to a life of crime and end up in prison. We've seen many young girls become pregnant with no husband, no boyfriend, no family support, basically becoming single-parent moms with no support structure at all. In fact, according to world life expectancy, the average life expectancy of a Russian orphan is only 30 years old. This has been proven by many of the orphans that I actually know. In fact, last month, I know 2 orphan graduates who committed suicide, and they died before the ages of even 25 years old. When my wife and I discovered these statistics, we knew we had to do more than just provide some kind of humanitarian aid or renovation project. We knew it was time to do something more, something that we were very passionate about. We felt a sense of urgency. You have to realize, though, I had achieved what most people refer to as the American dream. I had the big house, 900 square meter house with a swimming pool in the backyard. I had 3 beautiful children. I had 2 dogs, 2 cars. You know, everything was beautiful. Everything was wonderful. My life was like awesome. I had a successful business. I had a great job. But my life was pointless. When my wife and I, when we first became aware of the plight of what orphan graduates were going through, our first thoughts in our mind was, hey, you know what? Let's sell our house. Let's give away all of our possessions. Let's take our family and move over to Kaliningrad. And let's start a program for orphan graduates. In fact, that's probably the furthest thing from my mind at the moment. In fact, I mean, I love coming here to Kaliningrad, but I'll just be real honest with you. I didn't want to live in Russia. I mean, right? Russians are trying to get to America. That's what every Russian, what are you doing living here? Don't you know we're trying to go to America? Sorry, that was a poor Russian accent. However, one evening, I was sitting comfortably with my wife on our porch in America. I was sipping on a glass of iced tea. We do like our tea cold with ice in America. You guys like it hot. And I came to the realization that I'm just wasting my time. I mean, I just was living my life in order to get more and more money, more and more things. I was trying to become more successful. But what is success? Or at least that's what I thought success was. The more things, the more money that you have, the more successful people will say you are. But I had achieved everything. What am I doing? What was the point? So the question came to my mind. Me and my wife's, we had this discussion. We said, what do we put on this planet to do? What are we supposed to do with our lives? If this is pointless and we're wasting time, what are we supposed to do? Then we realized it's time to stop feeling sorry for the plight of orphan graduates, but to actually do something about it. So that brings me, to make a long story short, to June of 2011. We got here, we moved here with our family. We were excited about being in Russia. We went, and I didn't just get a visa to get here. I mean, of course, you have to come here initially on a visa, but we decided we were going to become residents of Russia. So we tried very quickly to learn, how to get a temporary residence permit, which I learned 2 very valuable Russian phrases when I moved here, and that is, "Кто последний" и "Я после вас." I don't know if that was correct Russian, but they understood what I meant, because that's a very important phrase that you have to learn when you come here to Russia. Now, we did what I said we would do. We started a program for orphan graduates, and we've had a lot of success. And I could go over a lot of things that we've done over the last couple of years. For instance, we have temporary housing that we have for graduates who are having a difficult time. Maybe they're living on the streets right now. We have weekly essential life skills lessons. We have a single mother's parent program. We provide free private health care for the orphan graduates. We also have free psychological services, and we provide free legal services for any orphan graduate. And we've done much, much more than that. But it's amazing what we've been able to do in the 2 years. But it's not about what we did, the Americans did. What was cool was it was all done by Russians, because when we got here, we realized that we had a lot of friends and a lot of people who cared just as much as we did about orphans, but they didn't know where to start or what to do. And when they heard that we were doing something and we had the resources, they decided, hey, can we go along with you too? And right now we have over 30 volunteers in our organization that are all Russian. We have all of our staff in our organization is all Russian. It's not about America. It's about the Russians helping their own people. And that's what I love the best, because we found people here in Kaliningrad, like what Basu said, there's awesome people that live here that are passionate to do something, and they realize there's an urgency behind it. My point here today is not to get you to sell your apartment, move your family to some foreign country to somehow feel significant in this world. That's not my point, okay? My point here is not to get you to volunteer for our organization or to maybe donate some money to our organization. However, I will not, turn away any donations. But anyway, my wife and I, you can go ahead. My wife and I, we felt an urgency of time, an urgency to do something that we were passionate about. We have only till an orphan turns 30 years old to somehow change their mindset, to change their life patterns, to allow them to become a successful member of society. And we have seen some great results already, and we're proud of it. There are a number of great causes in this world. There's a number of great causes in Russia, and there's a number of great things, even that's going on in the city. My point here is to motivate you to make time to volunteer into a cause that you are passionate about. Maybe for an organization that's making a difference in this area. But you need to ask the question, what are you put on this planet to do? And I'm not referring about your profession or your job. Orphans, they may not be your passion. Children, they may not be your passion. But maybe it's to help veterans or help those that have physical disabilities, or maybe to help just an elderly neighbor. Whatever your passion is, make time to volunteer. Make the time to make a difference in someone's life. The biggest excuse that we use is, I don't have time. I don't have time. And that's really a poor excuse, because the truth is you're just saying, I'm not willing to make it a priority. So, I want to leave you with a quote from the great Mother Teresa. Go ahead. And she says, yesterday is gone. Tomorrow has not yet come. We have only today. So let's begin. Thank you very much.